Hi, I'm Bill Paul. Welcome to my journey from 2-week loans to debt freedom. If you hooked all the computers in the world together, it still wouldn't equal the power of your mind. You have billions of neurons, and billions times billions it's a finite number, but it might as well be infinite. It's so great. That's the power of the human mind. Your mind is like a self-guided missile. When it's not locked onto a target, it does nothing. It just sits there. All its potential is not being used. As soon as you set a goal, your mind will lock onto that target. And even when you're asleep, it will, just like a self-guided missile, it will find a way to get where it needs to go. It'll go up, down, around, all over until it gets there. When Eric and I first started our business together in Southern Cal, we had huge hopes. And we said, we're going to have annual corporate meetings in Hawaii. We're going to fly down there for our meetings or other exotic locations. Well, we didn't know how we were going to accomplish any of this. We just set the goal. But our brains were working on them subconsciously while we were sleeping. It was actually when Becky and I went on our cruise, we got out in Ensenada, Mexico, and the first thing I saw was my brother's timeshare. The timeshare was in Southern California, but the booth was in Ensenada, Mexico. And so Becky and I went over there and I said, yeah, my brother has a timeshare here, and we've been to it a couple times, and it's really nice. And he said, well, have you ever heard our presentation? And I said, no. And he showed us a picture of all these trips we could go on. And he said, if you could pick any of these trips, which one would you pick? And Becky and I both pointed to Hawaii at the same time, without hesitation. And we laughed because we both did it at the same time. So he set us up an appointment when we got back to California. And we sat through it was a 2-hour presentation, but it ended up being 4.5 hours. We actually called our brother and consulted with him, and it just wasn't right for us. So we were supposed to go right away, but every time we tried to set it up, it was tourist season, or it was too busy, or we couldn't go for another reason. We didn't have babysitters. They kept trying to change us. Well, would you like to go here instead? No. Would you like to go here instead? No. Well, after a few years, they were like, we really have to get you to go. And we're like, yeah, we know. And Becky's always been into Pearl Harbor, and she really wanted to go during Pearl Harbor. Well, we tried to go to the 75th anniversary. That was the big one. But we ended up going to the 76th anniversary the next year. And it was at a really difficult time in our lives. We were going through some difficult things. And so it came at the perfect time. Everything worked out great. Becky's parents were able to watch our children. Eric and his wife weren't able to go with us. But as luck would have it, they ended up going the next year. Our dreams came true, just not in the way we thought. But it inspired Becky to go on summer trips with the children when I was working. And she'd travel all over within a short distance, and then even some long distance ones. It also inspired her. Her parents are in poor health. Her mom moved to California as a young girl, and Becky didn't know any of her relatives on her mom's side. So, except for the immediate ones. So she was able to take her mom on a dream trip and meet some of her relatives and look for some of her ancestors, and she learned a lot about her family. And then the next year, she was able to take her dad on a dream trip to Alaska where he grew up. Her whole life, he told her stories about his childhood, and now she was able to go to Alaska with him and see the places